All right, everybody, for my last video in assignment 1.2, I just have some miscellaneous topics from last year, adjectives, pronouns, and forms of the verb to be. Again, if you didn't watch my videos on nouns or verbs, I'm including page numbers from our Blue Latin 2 book. If you think that would be useful to you as you review, you can go to the back of the blue book and look these topics up also. The first of these topics is adjectives, and adjectives have 3 degrees: positive, comparative, and superlative. Positive was really the only one that we saw before we got out for the shutdown in the spring. Comparative and superlative we got in our distance learning assignments. I'll tell you this. Knowing the comparative and superlative degrees in Latin 2 is kind of important. We see them quite a bit, and they connect to some new topics that we're going to be seeing. So I think it's important for you to pay attention to these notes and this section of the assignment for Latin 2. So the positive degree of an adjective is just the regular form of the word. Fortis means brave, iratus means angry, or my example, notus, the adjective, means just famous. It's just what the word means. The word for that in grammar is positive. Now the comparative degree does that. I mean, you can hear that it is used to compare more than one thing, and it'll include in Latin the letters, I-O-R, and it's going to be translated er or more. So for example, notior, where I-O-R is the ending, or notiorem, where there's an ending after the I-O-R, means more famous. For example, fortior would be braver. Iratiorem would be more angry or angrier. Another note with the comparative degree is that when you see that IOR or you have that ER or more sense with an adjective, the word quam, Q-U-A-M, is going to mean than. Like more famous than, braver than, angrier than. I bring this up because this is one of our topics that we're going to be seeing later in the year, and we're going to see it a lot with the word quam. And finally, we have the superlative degree. An adjective in Latin in the superlative degree will have issim or sometimes erim, E-R-R-I-M, and it's translated est, most or very. So in my example here, we've gone from notus to notissimus. Means that this person is not just famous, but very famous, the most famous, if you will. Using my other examples, fortissimi, for example, is not just brave, it's very brave, or the bravest. Iratissimo is not just angry, it's very angry, or the angriest. So again, IOR in a Latin adjective is ER or more, and an issim or erim, like celerime, for example, is EST, most or very. We'll see that quite a bit this year, as I said. My next slide here is pronouns, and we do probably remember a lot of these. We were seeing ego and tu a lot before the shutdown. I think you can tell me that the word me means me, and te is just kind of a variation on tu, which should cue you in. It's accusative, so it's the direct object receiving the action like we talked about in the video before this. The other forms are what I'm a little bit more concerned with because we didn't see them until we broke for the shutdown here. Number one, the words nos and vos mean either we or us and you plural respectively. They correspond to the verb endings mus and tis, as we did a little bit at the end of the year last year. And for all of these forms, first, second, singular, and plural, the dative forms are actually pretty important this year in Latin 2. There's one construction in particular in Latin 2 that's really easy to translate, and I always bring it up when it shows up, but it uses these forms. You may remember at the end of last year that mihi, 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 mihi means to or for me. Tibi, 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 tibi means to or for you. It's important for you to remember that mihi means to or for me, tibi means to or for you, because they do show up a lot here in Latin too. Same thing with nobis and vobis. Notice how similar they are to nos and vos. Nobis is to or for us. Vobis is to or for you, plural. Again, I think you remember ego, tu, and probably also nos and vos. Me kind of speaks for itself. But of these pronouns, I think mihi, tibi, nobis, and vobis will be the most important for you here in Latin 2. This slide is pretty much just remember it. There's not much to it besides just remembering what these individual pronouns mean. And the last slide, the last thing we have to review from stages 1 through 11 last year are forms of the verb to be. You probably do remember a bunch of these from last year, especially that sum means I am, es means you are, est means he, she, or it is, and sunt means they are. You may also remember that erat and erant are imperfect. They're the honorary members of the imperfect club. They don't have a BA like all the regular imperfects, but erat does mean he, she, or it was. Erant means they were. The only ones that we got during distance learning and not in the first 7 stages or so are summus and estis, which mean we are and you plural are respectively. But look at it this way. There are words within this that are over on the other side that you probably know a little bit better. Sum, as you see right here, means I am. But mus, the ending, means we. So you're not going to say we am. Su mus is we are. Same thing over here. You know that est means is. We've seen that since day 1. But you know that tis is you plural. You're not going to say you is. You're going to say you plural are. Another nice guideline for these is that it follows your regular verb endings, all right? MST, mus, tis, and nt mean I, you, he, she, or it, we, you, or they. So if you see a little short word with an SU or an ES in it, all right, and then an ending, it's probably am, is, or are, and the ending will tell you whether it's he, she, or it, it's they, it's we, etc. All right, this is pretty much it. We're going to build on this. Different forms of the verb to be, different verb forms in stage 12, and then we are on a fast track right into the blue book and stage 13 in Latin 2. Hopefully these videos were useful, and I'll be posting them throughout the year.